Wargamers, Quirk here from MiniWarGaming.com to bring you a special Warmachine battle report. Today I have Tarik with me, and we're going to be playing a 25-point game. Now the reason this one's special is because Tarik is a little bit new to the game, so we're actually going to be going through this a little bit slower, and I'm going to be kind of over-explaining some of the rules just for some of the newer comers to the game, and also to give Tarik a little bit of a refresher. Now we're going to be playing 25 points of Khador versus minions. I'm going to be bringing piggies today. That way we also get a little bit of exposure to hordes as well as Warmachine and the functions they have in between them. Let's go ahead and take a look at the armies and the board and see what we're doing today. So for my 25 points, I've got Dr. Arcadius, and with him he's brought 2 Warhogs. I've also brought Rorsch and Brian. Now they're a solo unit that kind of works like a journeyman warlock in the sense that this beast comes with him, so he only works together. They have a couple special functions that work really nicely. And then I've also brought a unit of slaughterhousers, just because I do like them and they're always fun to throw at my opponent. All right, and Tarik, what did you bring today?
I got Khrushchev, a behemoth, a berserker,
cool,
an artillery piece, and
nice.
A minimum unit of winter guard.
Very nice. And there's 25 points of Khador, ripe and ready for battle. And this is the board that we're going to be playing on. It's a very simple layout. We're going to be playing incursion, so the 3 flags in the middle. You can either control or dominate for 1 point a turn. The way you can control one is by having a model in base to base with it, and at least half the unit within 4 inches, or your warcaster within base to base. If an opponent is within 4 inches of one of these flags, it's considered contested, and nobody will receive a point. We have 2 forests in here that will provide concealment, as well as 2 hills that will provide an elevation bonus. And just a quick roll off here to see who goes first. Now, of course, I'm rolling the red die just to confuse everybody. So he got a 5, or I got a 5, and he got a 6. So Tarik, as I'm breaking models here, the way this works is you can either choose to go first, or you can pick the table edge that you'd like. Would you like to go first or pick the table edge?
I'll go first.
Alrighty, and I'm going to stick with the table edge I'm on just because that's where I have all my models. Okay. So here we have Tarik's table edge. Now, since he did choose to go first, he will have a 7-inch deployment zone. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how he deploys everything. So here we have the Khador deployment. Now he's got the artillery piece to the far left. He has his behemoth, his caster, the berserker, and then the unit of guys like so. It's got everybody spread out and pretty much on the deployment line there so that they can get some distance right off the get-go. And over here we have the minion deployment. Now these guys up here are a little bit further up than the rest of the unit. They have a special ability called advanced deployment. What that means is after both opponents have, or probably both people have deployed their units, but before the first turn goes, you can do an advanced deployment, which means that these guys can actually get put 6 inches further up past the deployment zone. So my deployment zone was 10 inches since I went second. So these guys are technically 16 inches up past the table edge there. Then moving on down here, I have Rorsch and Brian, followed by one of the Warhogs, Dr. Arcadius, and another Warhog right there. Round 1! So at the start of Khador turn 1, Khrushchev actually generates 5 focus on his own. Now focus can be used and allocated to other warjacks, such as your berserker here, or to the behemoth. What focus does is it allows you to either run, charge, buy an extra attack, boost an attack roll, boost a damage roll, things like that. It can also allow you to use special abilities that are assigned to the jack. During the opening phase, so before you do anything, you have your maintenance phase, where if there's anything that needs maintenance, upkeep spells, things like that, that's when that happens. And you have your control phase. During your control phase is when you can allocate focus to a jack, such as going like this, or allocating there. The maximum a jack can be allocated is up to 6, or probably is up to 3. So you could, for example, could go 3 and 1 and hold 1 to your caster. You can't put 4 on 1. So it's always going to be maximum of 3. And what you can then do after that control phase is then you move on to your action phase, where you can then start activating everything individually. So Tarik, after that rambling explanation, would you like to allocate any focus to your jacks?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Oh no, not to my jacks.
No.
But like, you know, this guy.
Okay, so
he's kind of a jack.
Okay, so Khrushchev is going to hold on to his 5 focus then?
Yes.
Alrighty. So that will be the end of the control phase. Tarik has decided to hold on to all of his focus. So now he moves on to the activation phase. Now the way an activation works is you pick a unit or model and you activate them. And during their activation, they can perform 2 things. They can move and perform an action. There are certain things that require both to combine. So for example, a run order will consume both the move and the action. During this, what you can do is you can move up the movement speed, or you can run, which allows you to go double their movement speed. And then you can also, if you decide not to do a run, you can just do a regular movement, a shooting, an assault, If they have special orders like, for example, dig in and stuff like that, that's when they can perform that special action. So is there any particular model you'd like to start off with?
I'll start off with the Winter Guard.
Alrighty. So the Winter Guard have a stat line that has a speed of 6, which means that if they decide to run, they can go 12 inches. Now you decided to run, is that correct?
Yes.
Alrighty, so whereabouts are you going to send them?
Forward.
Okay.
Probably towards the objective,
Alright.
and also in the woods.
Alrighty. So this one's going to move to about there, and we'll come right back to you once they've done their movement. So Tarik has gotten to a point now where he would like to move this model into this forest. Now the thing is, when you move through a forest, it's considered difficult terrain or terrain as a whole. What that means is that once you enter into it, your movement is halved. So in order to advance an inch, it will cost you 2 inches of movement. So say for example, this guy wanted to run here and it was 10 inches. He has another 2 inches of movement, he can move 1 inch into that forest. So this guy wants to advance. Now the distance between him and the forest is 7 inches. So if he moves the 7 up to the forest, that would mean that he has 5 inches of movement remaining, but we do have to cut that in half when he advances into the forest. So he will only have 2.5 inches of movement into that forest. There you go. And that will be the Winter Guard's movement, ending right about there. Which gives them some good distance on the objective and some nice line of sight on the battle group that's coming at them. Now Tarik does have 3 models that are currently in the forest, and what the forest provides is something called concealment. And what concealment will give them is +2 to their defensive stat, so it makes them a little bit harder to hit when they're hiding out in the forest. Next, Tarik is going to activate his Warcaster Karchev. Now what he wants to do is cast Tow. Now Tarik, can you read out loud what Tow provides?
Yeah. Tow, if during its normal movement, this model advances within 2 inches of a friendly warjack. At the end of that movement, you can place the warjack base to base within, completely within its back arc. Up to 3 warjacks can be placed by Tow each time this model ends its normal movement.
Awesome. So how much does it cost to cast this?
It costs 2.
Okay, so what you will end up doing is, since you're activating the caster, he will spend 2 focus, so it would just be like this, and now he has Tow on him. So that means that when he advances, these 2 models, since they are within 2 inches of him, will, after he's ended his movement, be placed in his back arc. Now Tarik brought up a good point. He said, well, this is awesome because now he can do a run. Thing is, if you've cast a spell with your caster, he can't perform any runs or anything like that. And if he runs at the end of that movement, the activation immediately ends, and you have to move on to another character, solo, unit, whatever.
So run cancels out any action that you do?
Pretty much. Now what you can do is your regular movement, since he is speed 4, he will advance up 4 inches.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he's going far fast. Okay, and what will end up happening is these guys get placed just in his back arc like so.
Okay, what
now,
if I twist him around?
Exactly. If you turn him around
Yeah.
like this, his back arc is now facing this way. So these models can be placed
farther up.
right there.
So they're protecting his back.
Exactly, and right there.
Sick.
Which is also a very neat trick. And after performing that advance, Karchev is going to finish his activation, camping the 3 focus. Now what 3 focus will do is actually add that to your armor stat. So what's Karchev's armor normally?
His normal armor is 19.
Alright, so right now he's technically at armor 21 because you go 19, 20, or pardon me, 19, 20, 21, 22. So he's at armor 22 right now.
We can do math.
Yeah, we can. So next you're going to activate the Berserker, is that
Yes.
right? Okay. Now the Berserker has a special ability. What was it called?
Aggressive.
Alright, and what does that provide for you?
The model can run or charge without spending focus or being forced.
There you go. So what you can then do is you can take his normal speed and double it and advance him that far without having to use one of Karchev's focus at the beginning.
Ooh.
So he can go pretty far up there. Now
What does force mean?
Alrighty. So force would actually apply to your war beasts.
Uh-huh.
So for warjacks, it's using focus. For
Yeah.
war beasts, it's like forcing them, so like urging them on and stuff like that. You'll see that when I use my when I use my war hogs.
Okay.
But the way it works is almost a little bit like in reverse. Think of it this way: in Warmachine, you're kind of paying ahead and letting things use what resources you have available.
Right.
In hordes, it's more you're creating debt. So your warcaster or your warlock has a certain amount that focus or fury that he can pull off the beasts.
Uh-huh.
So if, say for example, I have a beast that has done a run, he will generate 1 fury. At the start of my turn, my caster has to then pull that fury off the beast to prevent him from having a frenzy, so going insane.
Okay. Okay.
Alright, so that's what force means.
Yeah.
Now, one thing to note with the Berserker, he does have a special rule called unstable. What that means is if for any reason he uses a focus, after he's done his activation, he has to roll a die. If he rolls equal to or less than the amount of focus that he used, he blows up. So just something to keep in mind. Next, he's going to activate the Behemoth, and where's he going?
He's going this way onto the hill, sort of.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So he's going to go 4 inches over here.
Yep.
And just end with his toe on the hill. Now, a hill provides an elevation bonus, which means that he's a little bit higher, so he's a little bit harder to see. The sun gets in your eyes, stuff like that. What a hill will provide is another +2 to your defense. It's called an elevation bonus. And there's certain things that can prevent it, but most of the time it just means you got +2 to your defense. The only way that someone can ignore it is if they have something that specifically says ignores the elevation bonus, or if the model taking a shot at him is also on the hill. And lastly, he's going to activate the field gun crew. Now their speed
is 4.
Alright, so they can run 8 inches. Are they going on the hill too?
Yes.
Alrighty. And ending on the hill right there. And they will also be getting the elevation bonus. And that will bring us to the end of Khador turn 1. Moving on to Minions turn 1. Now, as you'll see, Dr. Arcadius already has 7 Fury on him. Since he already has Fury, as opposed to the focus that a Warcaster would have, the way that happens is that at the beginning of the game, Warlocks will actually get their Fury to begin with, and then as the game kind of goes on, the only way they're going to get it back is by having their beast generated and having them reave it off of them. So, unlike in the Warmachine control phase, a Warcaster in the control phase will actually try and reave the focus back off of his beasts. Since none of my beasts have any focus on them, there's nothing for me to reave back, and I don't actually allocate any of the Fury that I have, it just kind of sits on my caster. So I'm going to start off with my Warhog here, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have him run. Now when he runs, he will generate 1 Fury, and he will advance forward, and end right there. Now the maximum amount of Fury that he can generate is 4, so what that means is he can buy attacks, boost, things like that, up to 4 times. Next I'm going to activate this Warhog, and I'm going to use something on them called Rile, and what that does is basically like I'm going to aggravate him and I'm going to get him all riled up, and I'm going to do that 3 times, and what this does will actually generate 3 Fury on him, and then I'm going to spend the last one and have him run forward as well. So he's going to advance up to right here, and he will have 4 Fury on him. So right now I currently have 5 Fury on my beast in total, and I currently have 7 on my caster. So what that means is I'm going to have to spend at least 5 of the Fury that he's got on him casting spells, or just drop it in general, in order to actually get that Fury back from those beasts. If I don't take it back, there's a chance that they could Frenzy, which will result in them actually charging the closest target, whether that's a friendly or enemy model, and getting a boosted attack and damage roll against them. Once that Fury check has finished, that beast can't activate for the remainder of the turn. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Dr. Arcadius, and he's going to cast a spell for 3 called Aggravator. And what Aggravator does is it gives all friendly war beasts in his control area an ability called Hyper Aggressive. And when a model with Hyper Aggressive suffers any damage from an enemy attack except while it's advancing, after the attack is resolved, it can immediately make a full advancement directly towards that attacking model. So if any of his models shoot my beasts and damage them, they get to make a full 4-inch advance towards that model. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 2 of the Fury that he has on him to cast an ability called Forced Evolution. And what that does is it gives a target friendly faction war beast +2 strength and defense. Now it has a range of 6, so I have to make sure that the beast I want to cast it on is within range, and it is. And what that means is that this war beast now has +2 strength and defense on him. I'm just going to put a little marker next to him to help remind me. And then lastly, I'm going to have Dr. Arcadius just advance up a little bit to kind of keep everybody in his control range. Next, I'm going to move over to Rorsch and Brian. Now, they are 2 individual ones, so I can actually activate them individually. And like I said before, Rorsch kind of works like a smaller warlock in the sense that he starts off with 3 Fury on him. So he was going to work the same way that Dr. Arcadius does, where in order to keep his Fury up and to make sure that his beast is in check, I kind of have to balance how much Fury is going out to how much Fury my Rorsch has on him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with Brian, and I'm actually going to have him run. So Brian's just going to advance up to right here, and that will generate 1 Fury. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Rorsch advance, and he's going to advance just to right here, and he's going to use a special ability called Diversionary Tactic. So what Diversionary Tactic does is it drops a 4-inch AoE on Rorsch, which will not actually hit anybody but himself and Brian, and what it will do is a POW 6 damage roll to any enemy model in that AoE. Then what happens is after all the damage rolls have been done, both Rorsch and Brian get to make a full advance. So right now, Brian is going to advance up 4 inches to there and keep his Fury on him. And Rorsch is going to advance up just right behind him there and there. And I'm going to drop 1 of the Fury off of him, which I can do is just burning it off. So that way at the start of the control phase, he can pull that 1 Fury back off of Brian. Now, the way Diversionary Tactic kind of works lore-wise is that he's dropped kind of like a smoke bomb or a distraction, and while everybody's getting hurt and figuring out what's going on in that AoE, they kind of make a little escape run. So it's a neat way to get them advancing, and it's also a nice way to get them out of combat. And lastly, I'm going to move on to my slaughterhousers, and they're just going to make a run movement, and they're going to try and make their way up onto the hill and get onto that objective. So they're running up 10 inches, which will put them all pretty much on this hill.
Oh, wow.
And they will end right there. Now, if you can see, I do have the two models touching the base of that objective. The thing is, since it is the first turn, neither Tarik or myself are actually able to score any points. We won't be able to score anything until the end of my second turn, since I went second. And that will be the end of Minions turn 1.
Round 2.
Dude!
What?
Alright, so starting off with Khador turn 2. So starting Khador turn 2, they will have their maintenance phase go first. Now since there's nothing for them to maintain, upkeep, things like that, we'll move on to the control phase. And in the control phase is when Karchev will actually get his focus back, and will be able to allocate it to whichever jack he wants to. So entering the control phase, Tarik is going to allocate the focus. Now the thing with Behemoth is that he actually has 2 subcortexes. And what that means is he can technically be allocated up to 6 focus, but the way it works is you can allocate it to either his guns that are on his shoulder, or you can allocate it to him specifically. And if you allocate it to him specifically, he can then do charges, buy attacks, things like that. If you allocate it to his guns, then he can buy more shots, he can buy boosted damage rolls and stuff like that. So you said you want to allocate 3 to him?
Yes, 3 to his guns.
3 to his guns. Yes. Alrighty, so go ahead and slide that focus on over.
Alright.
And are you going to allocate anything to your little ticking time bomb over there?
No.
No? Okay. Now just a quick note here, when allocating focus to your jacks, you always have to make sure the jack is within your control range. And the way to measure your control is you take the number that your focus is, so for Karchev as an example here, he's focus 5, and you multiply that by 2, so he's got a 10-inch control range. So as long as the jack is within 10 inches of him, then he's able to allocate the focus to it, and he's also able to then the jacks are able to then spend the focus and things like that. One thing to keep in mind is that you can't pre-measure in this game, but one thing that you can measure at any point in time is your Warcaster's control area. So it's a neat way to kind of pre-measure your charge distances and things like that. So you're going to activate Behemoth first, correct?
Yes.
Alright, and what is he going to do?
He's going to stand still.
Okay.
And shoot what do you call them?
My slaughterhousers?
Yeah, your slaughterhouses.
Alright. Neat trick for standing still is that if you do stand still, you actually get an aiming bonus. It's kind of like taking the time, making sure you're looking down the sights and things like that. So what that will do is actually add +2 to whatever your ranged attack ability is. So because he's standing still and getting that aiming bonus, his rat will go from 4 up to 6. Now, since he's also on the hill and shooting at my guys who are also on the hill, he actually gets to negate my elevation bonus. So I have no benefits for hiding out on the hill when getting shot by Behemoth.
Rat.
And just to answer Tarik's question, rat means your ranged attack. So what he's going to do is he's going to take a shot at this guy right here. Now the thing is, his rat of 6 against my defense of 12 means that he needs a 6 to hit. The way you figure that out is you take the rat value, subtract it from the defense value, and the difference that you have is what you need to roll on 2 dice. So he is shooting at that guy. The stat of the gun is actually an AoE 3, so that means that he'll be dropping a little AoE like this, and he actually might be able to catch 2 people with it. So rolling 2 dice to see if he gets that hit, and he most certainly does. So that was a direct hit on him, which means that he'll be taking the full power of the shot, which is POW 14. Now he's armor 15, so that means that the minimum amount of damage Tarik can roll, because we roll 2 dice for damage, is 16. So he's already got that 1 damage on my guy. So he's technically dead. But he does have a special ability called Tough, which is almost like an armor save for you 40k players out there. And what that means is on a 5+, he doesn't die, he just gets knocked down. So let's see if I get it. And I do.
Yeah. So
just putting a marker next to this model to show that he's knocked down. Now tradition would say that you would actually take the model and go like this. But the thing is, this is a very precise game to the point where even millimeters come down to the difference that it can make. So instead of actually moving the models and stuff like that, you put down little tokens to represent what's actually happened to the model, just so that they don't lose their placement. Now when a model is knocked down, what it means is that their defense gets reduced down to 5, they're automatically hit in cover, they don't actually have a melee arc, so they don't actually engage anybody in combat, and they're pretty much useless until the start of my next turn. The way I can get rid of knockdown is I can either forfeit my movement or my action when I activate this model, and what that will mean is if I forfeit my action, he can get up and move around. If I forfeit my movement, he can then just stand up and attack anything in his melee range. Now the blast damage did actually hit this model here, so what that means is that instead of taking the full brunt of the shot, he's only going to be taking half the damage. So instead of getting hit with a POW 14, he's only getting hit with a POW 7. So what that means is if Tarik rolls an 8 on 2 dice, he'll do enough to force me to make a tough check. Let's see if he gets it. Oh, he most certainly does. So I will make my tough check here, and I don't make it. So what that will mean is that this model is now dead. The Behemoth does have 2 of these guns, so he can shoot another one and pick another target to shoot at. He's decided to take a shot at the leader here. So again, taking that shot with the aiming bonus only needs a 6 to hit. And that will most certainly hit. So that's automatically going to force me to make a tough check here. And I do fail it. Now the thing is, he did kill my leader model here, which means I have to do something called a field promotion. Means more or less that the leader's died and someone else has to take up arms and become the new leader of the unit. So what it means is this model gets removed. I'm going to pick this guy to become the new leader. So what I'll end up doing is just replacing him with the leader model to represent. Now the blast does actually catch this model as well, so it will do a POW 7 to him. Now Tarik did put a lot of focus on the behemoth, so if he wants, he can spend one of these focus to add an extra die to the damage roll. Would you like to spend the focus to add an extra die?
Sure.
Alrighty. So what that means is he will then spend this one focus, and instead of rolling 2 dice for damage, he'll get to roll 3. And again, looking for an 8 on 3 dice now.
This is not overkill?
A little bit overkill. So that definitely did it. See if I make my tough check here. I don't, so that model will die as well. And that is a dead model. Now, technically, since I did lose half my models, I would have to pass a command check to make sure they don't flee, but they are fearless. So what that means is they automatically pass their command check. If they didn't have fearless, then I would have to roll 2 dice and compare it against their command number, which is 9. If I rolled higher, what that would mean is that next turn, I don't get to activate them, aside from having them either flee or stand perfectly still and hold their line. They don't actually get to make any attacks in a turn that they're fleeing. Next, he's going to activate the artillery piece and take a shot at which guy?
The leader.
You want to take a shot at the leader?
Yeah.
Alright. So what they're going to be doing is they are going to be standing still, which doesn't actually provide an aiming bonus because it is an artillery piece. But they do have a guy with a rangefinder in base to base, which adds +2 to the attack roll. So he goes from rat 5 to rat 7, so he's only going to need a 5 in order to hit these slaughterhousers here. So looking for a 5 on 2 dice here. And that will definitely hit. So it is a POW 14, which means even if you rolled Snake Eyes, it would still be POW 16, which is higher than my armor, so it's going to force a tough check. See if he makes it. No. That will kill my leader again, and I'm just going to field promote it to this guy here, who ironically got hit by the blast. So blasts again are half the damage, so it's a POW 7, looking for an 8 in order to force me to do it tough. Oh, he definitely gets it. Your dice are hot today, sir.
Ridiculous.
See if I make the tough check. I do not. So that will kill this leader, and the knockdown model is now the new leader of the unit. So now that Tarik has reduced my unit down to 1 man, I technically can't control this objective. I can contest it as long as I'm within 4 inches, but I'm not going to be scoring a point at the end of my turn for being in base to base with this. Next, Tarik is going to activate the Winter Guard, and he's going to move them all into the forest. So they're going to do a run, is that right?
Yes.
Alright, let's see where they end up. So the Winter Guard are going to end their activation there. They did a little bit of woodwork and cut down a tree to make it a little bit easier. They are still going to get that forest bonus though. So he's decided to have the Berserker just kind of stand where he is, and next you're going to activate your caster?
Yes.
Alright, what's he going to do?
And he's going to turn around and then run up.
Alright, now a nice thing to note here is that pivoting on the spot, while it does count as a move, doesn't actually use up your movement. So say for example you decided to go like this, that doesn't actually cost you any of your distance. You are treated as moving, so you won't get an aiming bonus or anything like that, but it doesn't cost you any of your distance. So you can full on turn around like this and still advance 8 inches in a direction.
Sick.
So would you like to advance up?
Yes.
Alright, go ahead. So he's just going to advance right there and actually just toe the forest a little bit to give him that cover
It
bonus.
keeps on moving, sorry.
It's okay. So just toeing that hill. And even just touching the forest will give him that defensive bonus, which is always nice.
Yeah.
And that will bring us to the end of Khador's amazing turn 2, moving on to Minion's turn 2. So starting of Minion's turn 2, skipping the maintenance phase because there's nothing here that's going to cost me an upkeep, we're going on to the control phase where I'm going to have to reave some of the Fury back. So my caster has a Fury focus, or Fury level of 7, so that means he can pull back up to a maximum of 7, which will give him starting at 2, 4, 6, and the one here brings him back up to 7. None of my beasts have anything left on them, so they're not going to have to do a frenzy check. And I do want to spend one of these in order to upkeep this spell here. Now an upkeep spell means that you pay the regular cost to cast it on a model, but then as the turns go on, you just pay 1 Fury or 1 Focus as the game goes on to keep that spell on the model. Also, I'm going to pull the 1 Fury off of Brian here and just put it on Rorsch. So to start off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Rorsch just advance right over to here. I've already measured this, so I know I'm in range to do it. And I'm going to pop his Diversionary Tactic, which means that the AoE goes off, and they both get to do another advance. And so they will end right there. Now Rorsch, I'm going to have him finish his activation. He's not going to do anything. I'm going to activate Brian next. I'm going to actually have Brian charge this model. Now the way a charge works is you take the model's regular speed, so his speed is 5, you add 3 inches to it, kind of like he's building up momentum, and that's the distance that he will be able to travel moving towards his target model. As long as he ends his movement within the half-inch melee range or the 2-inch reach range of his target, it's a successful charge and he gets to make the attack and a boosted damage roll. If he doesn't make that distance, so say for example terrain got in the way, mismeasured the distance that he's going to go, or something happened to prevent the model from actually getting into base to base with his target, it's considered a failed charge and that model's activation immediately ends. Now we did pre-measure this so he can already travel all the way over. Now as you can see, I am going to be passing over the flag. Since it's a flag, I can walk over it as normal, I just can't end my movement on it. If it was a objective or an obstacle of some kind, I would have to move around it, but since it's a charge, it is considered a straight line. So he's going to end right here, and he will generate 1 focus for making that charge. Now, Brian's mat, which is his melee attack, is 6. Going against the defense of the Berserker of 11, I'm going to need a 5 in order for this to hit. So looking for a 5 here. I didn't get it, so that's going to miss. So what I'm going to end up doing is buying another attack. So scratch that, he has multiple attacks, I forgot about that. So that was his gore attack. I was going to try and get a critical hit to knock him down. I did get a critical. A critical is what occurs whenever you roll doubles, and it's considered a successful hit. So I did roll double 2s, which was nice, but I needed a 5 in order for that to hit, so I didn't get that bonus there. But I'm going to attack with my claw now, looking for that 5 again, and that one will definitely hit. So with an armor of 18 and the claw's power of 14, the difference there is -4. So whatever I roll here on these 2 dice, I subtract 4 from it, and that's how much damage it does. You'll see I have a red die here. That's going to be for which column it goes to, because since jacks have different columns, you can actually cripple some of their systems to make their arms a little bit harder to hit, some of their cortexes so that they can't be allocated focus, or even crippling their movement so they can't do charges. So let's see if I do any damage here. Ooh, look at that roll.
Oh.
So that will do 7 damage to his column 3. And I'm going to attack now with my other claw. Looking for that 5. That will hit. And again, this is at dice -4. So that will do 1 damage to column 6. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy another attack. So what it will happen is he will generate some fury. And I'm going to attack with my gore, which is power 15. And again, if I do get a critical, it will knock him down. So again, looking for a 5 to hit here. Ooh, look at that. So that is a critical with 2 4s. It will hit with an 8, so he is considered knocked down. So what happens now is any more attacks that I buy will automatically hit him in combat. Sadly, knockdown doesn't affect armor in any way, so this is again still dice -4. And that will do 4 damage to the 6. Going to purchase another attack here.
No.
Which, since the model is knocked down, automatically hits, so this is dice -4.
Hey!
Triple 6s, I like it. So that'll do 12, or pardon me, that will do 8 damage to the 6. So that attack actually crippled his left arm. So what that means is that if he decides to attack with the left, he will only get to roll 1 dice for hitting and 1 dice for damage. And purchasing one more attack, which will max him out at his 4 fury. So again, at an automatic hit, so dice -4 here. And that will do no damage because it hit 4 exactly. Over here, I'm going to activate the Slaughterhouser. He's going to forfeit his action to stand up, and I'm just going to have him move to the other side of the objective here, and just kind of hang out on the hill. Next, I'm going to activate this Warhog here, and I'm just going to have him run over to the objective here. So I've already pre-measured it, so he will end right here, touching that objective, and he will generate the 1 fury for running. Next, I'm going to do the same thing with this War Beast here. I'm just going to have him advance with a run to right here. And again, he's just going to generate that 1 fury for running. And lastly, I'm going to have Dr. Arcadius just move to right here and toe the hill, taking his 6 fury with him. I'm actually going to have him drop 1 of the fury so he's down to 5. And that will bring us to the end of Minion's turn 2, where I will score 2 points because I do have 1 War Beast touching this objective here with no enemy models within 4 inches. I also have this objective here. I have 2 friendly models touching it with no enemy models within 4 inches. And again, over here, he's on the objective just because he doesn't stand on the hill very nicely, but I can't control that objective because I only have 1 model out of the 6, so he's not at least half. So that'll be 2 points for me and none for Tarik, and we'll be moving on to Khador turn 3. Round 3. So moving on to Khador turn 3, skipping the maintenance phase because again there's nothing here to maintain, and going on to the control phase where Karchev will get all of his fury back. So he's going to get all of that there, and he gets to allocate it however he wants. Now, he does have the knockdown model here, so if he wants, he can allocate one of the focus to the Berserker?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can allocate it to the Berserker, and it will allow him to stand up without forfeiting his movement or action. So you're going to allocate 1 focus.
To the Berserker?
Okay. And allocating 3 over 2 Behemoth's guns. So starting off, he's going to activate his field gun crew, and where are they heading?
1 guy's gonna run up the hill.
Okay.
Try to get close to the objective.
Now, if one guy runs, the entire unit has to run. So if
Oh, sorry, not run, but like
just going to
move.
advance.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other two are just going to stand there?
They're gonna shoot. Or
Okay.
the infantry gun is gonna shoot first.
Okay, shooting at what?
He's going to shoot at the
Slaughterhouser?
slaughterhouser.
Alrighty. So looking for a 5, he still has the bonus from the base-to-base from the aiming rangefinder. Oh, that's gonna miss. He's gonna try again and have the blunderbuss take a shot at him. Looking for a... What's his rat?
His rat is 5.
Okay, looking for a 7 to hit.
Come on.
That'll definitely hit. And what's the power of this?
Pow's 12.
Okay, so you need a 3.
3.
So don't roll snake eyes. There you go. So that'll force a tough check. And do I make the tough? I do not. So that will wipe out my Slaughterhouser unit. Next he's going to activate the Winter Guard, and you're just going to move the one guy up, correct?
Yeah, just gonna move him up a little bit.
Just moving him up a little bit to contest that objective.
Yes.
And the rest of them are just going to stand still to get an aiming bonus?
Yes.
Alrighty. So this unit is going to take some shots at my Warhog. So normally my Warhog is defense 12, but he is towing the hill, so he gets that elevation bonus, bringing him up to 14. The rat of the Winter Guard is normally 5, but they're standing still and getting that aiming bonus, so they're going to be at rat 7. So you're looking for 7s to hit, except for this guy who advanced. So he doesn't get that aiming bonus, he's looking for a 9. So let's start with him, see if he gets a 9 on 2 dice.
9. Nope.
No. Alright, so next guy.
This bodes unwell. Next guy.
That's definitely going to
Cool.
hit. And what's the
Alright.
power of this gun?
Pow is 12.
So this will be dice minus 6.
Dice? 2 dice?
2 dice at dice minus 6. And nothing there. So next shot
Next shot.
will...
6.
Yeah,
Needs
that's
a
gonna
7.
miss. Okay,
Next guy.
miss.
Nothing.
And
Oh,
the last
no.
one here. Nothing. Now, that was 4 shots. He does have 5 guys. The thing is that this guy is so far in the forest that he's not actually able to see through to the beast there. He needs to be at least within 3 inches of the edge in order to be able to see through the forest. So next Behemoth is going to activate, and he's going to take a shot at Rorsch. Normally Behemoth is rat 4. Standing still puts him up to rat 6. Rorsch has a defense of 13. So you're looking for 7s. Now you said you wanted to boost this one?
Boost his attack, yeah.
Alrighty, so you get 3 dice here, looking for a 7. And that will definitely hit.
That was scary.
That's a good hit right there.
Okay.
And he is armor 16, so this is dice minus 2. Now if you want, you can boost the damage roll for this as well. You don't really need to, because he's only got 5 boxes.
Yeah, I'll just do this.
Okay. Dice minus 2, so a 7. Oh! So he's got 2 boxes remaining. Quick correction there, he has 8 boxes, so he's now sitting on 5. So he's going to shoot again, spending the 1 focus to boost the attack roll. Looking for a 7, that will definitely hit.
Cool.
And also boosting the damage roll.
Yes.
Alright, so both of those are gone. And... oh, that will be more than enough to kill him. He does have tough though.
Oh no.
Can I make my tough here? Nope, that'll be it for him. So Rorsch is gone, and since he is the lesser warlock for Brian will go as well. But Brian has a special ability called Pig-Headed, where if Rorsch dies, he gets to make 1 more attack. So he's going to take a swing at the Berserker. So auto hitting and dice minus 3. That will do 2 damage to the 4. And after the attack, Brian is gone as well. Next, the Berserker is going to activate and spend the 1 focus to stand up. So there's a chance he can blow up now if he rolls a 1 at the end of the activation. And what is the Berserker going to do?
He's going to charge this war beast.
Alright, now since he does have the crazy thing where he gets to charge for free, you just get to make the charge distance.
Okay.
Making sure that's within 7.
Let's check.
You most certainly are.
Yes.
So you get to do the full charge there, ending within the ½ inch. And you get to make the attack and a boosted damage roll if you land a hit. So the mat on the Berserker is 5. Because I still have Forced Evolution up, the defense on my Warhog is 14. So he's looking for a 9 to hit. Let's see if he can get it.
Come on.
And he does. Very nice. So dice minus 2 at 3 dice at dice minus 2 because of the charge.
Wait.
Oh.
Nice.
That will do 12 damage to aspects 4. So that was with the right arm. Now he does have a left arm attack, but unfortunately it's crippled, so he only gets 1 die to hit. And even with a 5 and a 6 for the die roll, he's still not matching my defense, so he actually can't hit with the crippled arm. So that'll be it for the Berserker. And rolling 1 die to see if he blows up. On a 1 he does. Oh, so close. And lastly, his Warcaster is just going to camp out in the forest with his focus. And that brings us to the end of Khador turn 3, going on to Minions turn 3. Passing the maintenance phase and going on to the control phase, I'm going to take back these two, and I'm going to spend one of them to upkeep Forced Evolution. So starting off over here, I'm actually going to activate this Warhog, and I'm going to do something called Pain Response, where he takes D3 damage, but gets +2 strength. It does cost 1 Fury to do this. He will take 1 damage to column, or to aspect 4. Next I'm going to have him attack the Berserker. So looking for a 5 to hit here. That will definitely hit and crit, so he's knocked down again. And with armor 18, with Forced Evolution and the aggression dial, this puts him up to power 20, so this is dice +2. So that will do 9 damage to column 6. And that will be enough to kill him, so
He's dead.
he is dead. And that will be a dead Warjack. Then going over here, this guy is just going to move up to right there and get him in the melee arc. And I'm going to try and hit him. Defense of 12 and a mat of 6, looking for a 6 to hit here. And that will definitely hit. And with an armor 13 and this being POW plus strength 15, he's just dead. And Dr. Arcadius is actually going to spend 3 of the fury he has to put up a the hyper aggressive, or so that if they get shot by anything, they get to make a full advance towards the model that shot them. And that will be the end of Minions turn 3, and I will score 2 more points, putting me up to 4.
He's so focused.
Round 4.
So starting at Khador turn 4, we've kind of mathed it out to the point where all he's really got as a tactic here is to have Behemoth try and shoot this guy off the objective and get enough guys in here to prevent me from scoring that objective for a win. If he doesn't kill this guy, that's pretty much game. So let's go ahead and just skip to the allocating of 3 to Behemoth.
Yeah.
And let's see if you can take those shots. So spending 1 focus to boost the first attack and looking for an 8 to hit.
8! Okay.
That'll definitely hit. Are you going to boost the damage roll too?
Why not?
Okay, boosting the damage roll. So this is dice -2.
Dice -2.
Yep.
Yay.
Wow. That will be 15, which is exactly enough to kill him. Now, since the beast did die with a fury on him, I'm going to reave that before he dies, which I can do because that's how warlocks work. Quick note for when a beast dies and you're reaving the fury, it's kind of an all or nothing rule. So if a beast dies and you have 3 focus on the beast, you have to either take all the focus off of it or none of it. Next, the cannon crew is going to activate, and where are they heading?
They're heading towards that objective.
Alright, so they're just going to run to the objective?
Yep.
Okay. And just ending there, so they're going to claim that objective. Next, Karchev, or not Karchev. Is it Karchev?
Karchev, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna run. So he's got 7-inch run because he started out in the forest. It cost him an inch to get out. And he's just gonna end right there so that he can contest that objective. And lastly, these guys are just going to run and completely swarm around the objective to try and prevent me from getting it here.
This is ridiculous.
And just finishing their advance right there, swarming around that objective and making it very difficult for me to score it. And that is the end of Khador's turn 4, where they will score 1 point, so it's currently 4-1. So, starting of Minions turn 4. So, starting off with my Warhog here, he's going to move just like this, and try not to take that model with him, and just adjust so he can get everybody in the half-inch of melee there. So he's going to get 3 guys here. So, swinging at the first guy here, looking for 6s to hit. So, first one. That is a hit, and it will kill. Going for the one right in front of him, looking for another 6. That will hit and kill. And the last attack that he has, looking for another 6, will also hit and kill. So that will kill the 3 guys in front of him. So that'll be this one, that one, and no, just this guy. It's always the ones in actual combat. So these 3. Next, Dr. Arcadius is going to activate, and he's going to use Primal Shock through this beast into him. It's costing 2.
Oh.
And what it does is it's the strength of the beast, and in order to hit, I also need to roll a 7. So looking for, or not 7, focus 7 against his defense of 12. So looking for a 5. Oh, that did not hit. So let's try it again. And looking for that 5. That'll do it there. So that will be 11 and kill him. So that will kill that guy there.
Dang.
And then lastly, Dr. Arcadius is going to pop his feat. Now what his feat does is makes it so that all war beasts in his control automatically frenzy. So this beast right here is going to frenzy, and what a frenzy does is it makes it automatically charge the closest enemy model and get a boosted attack and damage roll. So looking for a 6 to hit. That will hit, and I don't even need to roll the damage, but I will just because I can. And that will kill that Winter Guard right there. And lastly, Dr. Arcadis is just going to advance all the way over to here. He's not quite fast enough to make it to the objective. And that will be the end of Minions turn 5, where Tarik will score another point, putting him up to 2. So it will be 4-2, starting of moving on to Khador.
Round 5.
So, starting of the maintenance phase, nothing happened. Moving on to control, you're going to allocate any focus?
I'm gonna allocate 3 to him.
Okay, to his gun?
Yes.
Okay. And
then
2 on
two on this guy.
Alright. So, what are you going to do first?
I'm gonna activate Karchev.
Okay.
And I'm gonna move him back.
Okay, are you going to cast anything first?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna activate. Sorry, should have mentioned that. I'm going to cast Toe.
Okay, so that's 2 focus for Toe.
Yep. And
then he's going to move, so he's turning.
Yep.
And moving 4 inches up. A little further. There you go.
Yep.
And just ending right there.
Yep.
And with Toe, you then get to place Behemoth in your back arc.
Yes.
So he's going to get placed
Here.
Yeah. Nice.
And
what are you going to do with Karchev now?
I'm going to. That's it.
Okay. So what's next?
I'm gonna activate the behemoth.
Okay. And what's he going to do?
He's gonna fire at the warcaster.
Oh. Okay. So he's going to stand still and get the aiming bonus.
Yes.
And range 14. Do you have it on the caster?
14.
Yep, you do. All right. So Dr. Arcadius normally has a defense of 15, goes up to 17 because he's on the hill. Against your rat of 6, you need an 11 to hit.
An 11.
So spending 1 focus to boost it.
Yes.
And so 3 dice, looking for an 11. Oh, that is 10, so it's going to deviate.
No.
The way a deviation works is if you see the template here, how it has the larger arrow, you point to the larger arrow directly facing the direction that the shot's coming from, and then there's a 1 through 6 on the dead center. So you roll 1 die to see which direction it's going to. Yeah. It's going to go to the 5, and you roll the white die to see how far it goes. It's going 3 inches to the 5.
Measure that for you.
Okay. So 3 to the 5, we'll land it right here. It's an AoE 3, so you'll be catching actually the war beast there.
Will
with
I?
a power 7.
Really?
So at dice minus 9.
Ooh.
That'll do 2 damage to call aspect 4.
Oh.
And taking the second shot, boosting the hit. So 3 dice, looking for an 11.
11.
Oh,
we go.
that'll definitely hit. And are you going to boost the damage?
Yes, I am.
Alright, so it's going to be 3 dice damage. Its POW is what, 14?
The POW is. Yes, 14.
So this will be straight dice. So if you roll a 5, 6, 6, you win, sir.
Oh!
So that will do. He will be remaining on 2 boxes. He has 2 boxes left.
No!
So at the end, that was kind of a Hail Mary. I honestly got scared when I saw the 5 and the 6 there. I thought you had
Yeah, same here.
it. But very good game, sir. Awkward left-handed. Good game. So there you have it, MiniWarGamers. That's 25 points of Khador versus Minions. That was close.
So close.
For those of you who are wondering and are trying to keep up with what was happening there, that was kind of a Hail Mary attempt to kill my caster. If he killed the caster, he would have won the game. Since he didn't have anything to prevent me from scoring that last objective. Since he didn't kill my caster, and I could have scored the last objective and put me up to 5 points, which would make me win. Yeah. That was kind of, like I said, a Hail Mary. He almost got it. I got scared.
So close.
It
was a 5 and a 6.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are interested in coming in and playing any of us here, go to miniwargaming.com/challenge for all the details. Until then, guys, happy wargaming.